Hey everybody, welcome back to a new video. A couple months ago I showed you that it was possible to use your own DIY expansion batteries on EcoFlow power stations. It's as simple as connecting up to the expansion battery port. But one of the complaints was how complicated it was to set that wiring up. Now what if I told you that a company came out with a plug and play adapter that allows you to connect up their batteries right into EcoFlow power stations? Well, right here on the table I have that adapter. This is a plug and play adapter made by WattCycle. Now I have their batteries here on the table and their adapter, and today we'll be testing with the EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus to see how well it works. Now just a heads up, at the end of the video I also tried powering up the EcoFlow Wave 3 portable air conditioner running off these batteries and this plug and play cable. So stay tuned if you want to see that in action. So first let's go ahead and take a closer look at the WattCycle adapter cable. So on this end that plugs into the power station you have the XT150 connector, and then on this end you have two ring terminals that connect up to a 48 volt battery. Between that you have 8 gauge wire, which should be able to handle 40 amps continuous without getting too hot. Now this connector here is compatible with the smaller EcoFlow power stations that use the XT150. This is what it looks like. This is the Delta 3 Plus. It'll also work on the Delta 2 or the Delta 2 Max. There probably are a few other models that support this XT150 connection. Now just giving you guys a brief rundown of how this works. Traditionally the EcoFlow expansion battery port is disabled. In order to activate that, you can see on the WattCycle adapter there are two communication pins. There is a 1K resistor installed in this adapter cable, and when you plug it in, it basically tells the power station to enable this port so you can get live voltage output. So with that live battery voltage, we essentially get a direct connection to the internal battery on the power station through the expansion battery port. So this adapter cable can essentially connect up to a battery with the same voltage and chemistry. So this power station here has a 51.2 volt nominal lithium iron phosphate battery, and these two batteries here are the same, so we can connect those together in parallel, giving us much more capacity and a much longer runtime. Now just to give you guys a quick demo here, I have the power station turned on, and if we measure the voltage at the expansion battery port, we are seeing 0 volts. So now I've just connected the adapter into the expansion battery port, and measuring with my voltmeter on these two terminals, we are seeing 52.52 volts. So we are getting a direct access to the battery inside. Now I will say, as a word of caution, because you have live battery voltage here, you don't want to shock yourself, and you definitely don't want to short these out. They have included this heat shrink on the positive connector to help with that, but what I would recommend doing is having everything turned off and then connecting it up, and then you turn each device on one by one. Now I'm excited to get started with some testing here, but before we connect everything up, I just want to point out that this plug and play adapter doesn't appear to have any overcurrent protection. There could be a fuse built into this connector here, but I don't see a replaceable fuse. So what I'd probably recommend is installing a DC breaker like this. For example, on my DIY setup, I used 8 gauge wire, which is the same as this, and I used a non-polarized DC breaker rated for 40 amps. Now what this does is it allows you a way to shut off the connection between the power station and the battery. For example, if you flip the switch, it disconnects the power between these two. Or if you ever have an issue of overcurrent, for example, if it goes over 40 amps, this will shut off after a given amount of time because it's a thermal breaker. It gets hot and it shuts off. So it's nice to have that protection built in. I will say, when I've been testing with EcoFlow power stations, I've never had anything go over 40 amps, but you never know what might happen. So having a DC breaker installed on this might be the best option for long-term safety. Now I'll be testing without the DC breaker just to see what happens, but I will include a non-polarized 40 amp DC breaker down in the video description so you guys can use that with this adapter. So step one of connecting everything together, the batteries and the power station both have to be at 100% state of charge. So charge everything fully up before resuming to the next step. Step number 2 is making sure everything is powered off. So your batteries are powered off, the DC breakers are powered off, and the power station is powered off. That allows you to connect everything together safely. So then if you have two batteries, you can connect them together in parallel. These jumper cables do come with the batteries, so negative to negative, positive to positive. That wires them together in parallel. So now each 5 kilowatt hour battery is wired together to be 10 kilowatt hours. The next step is to take the adapter cable and wire it up the same way, negative to negative, positive to positive. Now we are good to plug this adapter into the back of the power station and turn everything on. Now, out of all the 48 volt batteries that I've tested on the channel, I really like that the WattCycle batteries come with these covers, because look at this. You can completely cover up the terminal to remove any sort of risk of, shock. So you just kind of put these on here and it completely covers up these terminals, so there's no way to touch them. So the adapter is connected into the back expansion port, so we are going to turn on the power station. So as that's turning on, what you can do is you can enable the switches on the battery. Now what's nice is you can turn on the switches and you still have the DC breaker stopping from, current flowing out of the battery. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do this breaker first, and then the final switch is this one here. So now they are connected together. Now on these batteries, you do have quite a bit of information on the display. You can see 0.7 amps is going out of this battery and 0.6 amps is going into this battery. So they are equalizing, but you can always keep an eye on what's going on between these two batteries so you know if power is flowing out or power is flowing in. So I've started off the testing by connecting this heater into the inverter on the power station. We are pulling about 800 watts. So how much of that power is coming from these batteries? Now these displays are pretty small, so it's going to be hard to see, but if you look at the current here, we have a negative 8.5 amps and a negative 8 amps coming from these batteries. So about 16 amps or right around 800 watts. Now that's actually pretty interesting that the full 800 watts being pulled by this heater is being powered by these two batteries here. Now why is that? Well, these batteries had a slightly higher voltage than the internal battery voltage of the power station, so the power is going to be sourced from these batteries first until the voltages match of these two systems. So I've turned the heater up to high mode. You can see we're pulling about 1400 watts now. And if you look at the power station screen, it's showing 99% state of charge. So now we are pulling power from the battery itself, and the estimated runtime is about 7 hours, which adds up for the total capacity of the system. Now, if we look at the battery screens with this bigger load, we are pulling 13.2 amps here and 12.3 amps here. So right around 25 to 26 amps, which is about 1300 watts. So with the heater pulling about 1370 watts, a majority of the load is coming from these batteries, but the power station is powering a small portion of that load. And you can see the state of charge is dropping down. Now moving on to the next test, what if we charge the power station with solar? Will it charge both the power station and the batteries at the same time? Now it's a bit of a cloudy day outside. I have 500 watts of solar connected up to the solar charging port, but we're only charging at 365 watts. But the power station is charging. What about the batteries? We have about 2.6 amps coming into this battery and 2.9 amps into this battery, so a little over 5 amps. So that is about 300 watts going into these batteries. Well, now that we know both the batteries and the power station charge with solar input connected to the power station, how full are these batteries going to get once the power station hits 100% state of charge? In my testing, typically power stations are more conservative on their voltage, meaning that 100% state of charge on this battery is not quite going to be 100% state of charge on these batteries. So I'm going to let this charge for about 30 minutes to an hour. We'll see if it's full by then, and if it is, we'll see what state of charge these batteries are at. So it's been a little over an hour now. The power station's at 100% state of charge, and it's also stopped charging. So let's take a look at the batteries to see what they're at. Okay, so take a look at that. We are at 100% on the top battery. Now if we look at the bottom battery, it's also fully charged at 100%. Now, one of the main benefits of this particular battery from WattCycle is that it has a 3 amp active balancer, meaning that it can balance the cells out much better than a traditional BMS. You can see the balance current right here at almost 3 amps, but a traditional BMS can only balance at 30 to 500 milliamps. So this is balancing 6 times faster, which helps get all the cells equalized. So moving on to the final test, I want to make sure the power station and the WattCycle batteries can do a full discharge and charge cycle. So I'm going to be using this 1500 watt heater with this watt meter to see how much usable capacity we can get as we take it all the way down to 0%. And then we'll make sure that it can fully charge everything back up with solar going into the power station. So let's go ahead and start that test. So with the test going here, the heater is pulling about 1400 watts, and I'm tracking all the energy coming out of the system with this watt meter. Now the total capacity for both the power station and these two batteries is a little over 11 kilowatt hours. So we'll have to see how much we actually get as everything dies down to 0%. Now this test ended up running most of the night. It's the next morning here. The power station has turned off. These batteries are at 0%, so it looks like everything was able to discharge all the way down. Let's go ahead and power up the watt meter here to see how much energy we pulled. So take a look at this. We pulled 10,570 watt hours out of the 11,264 advertised capacity. That is 93.8%. So you can definitely get a bunch of added capacity and runtime using these batteries. Now it's still fairly early in the morning here, but I have plugged solar panels into the power station. You can see we're at 0% state of charge and we have about 17 watts going into the power station. So my goal today is to have solar and AC charging plugged into this power station to get the entire setup completely charged. We're going to see if everything can get to 100% as we charge up through the power station today. Now I'm not going to lie, it did take a while with charging the power station at about 1500 watts to get this entire setup full, but you can see we're at 100% state of charge here. And if we look closer at each of the battery screens, they are also fully charged. So yes, you can do a full discharge and recharge cycle on this, and everything seems to work just fine. Now I mentioned it took a while to charge up this entire system with just the power station because these are massive batteries. But in a previous video where I showed you about this hack, I showed that you can connect up solar charge controllers and additional battery chargers to this battery here, or these batteries, and then that power would also flow back to the power station and it would charge up as one system together because they're essentially wired together in parallel. So if you want to speed up the charging process, you can add solar charge controllers or battery chargers to this battery bank and the whole system charges up. Okay, so I want to change gears really quick. We know that this plug and play cable works on the Delta 3 Plus, but will it work on any other EcoFlow product that has the XT150 port? Well, this is the EcoFlow Wave 3. This is a portable heat pump, so it's an air conditioner and a heater, and it's essentially a 48-volt mini split. So can we power the Wave 3 directly off these 48-volt batteries using this plug-and-play adapter? Well, let's find out. So just for safety, we are going to shut off these DC breakers before we plug it in. So with the DC breakers turned off, let's go ahead and plug it in. Okay, moment of truth. Let's flip these breakers on. Ooh, look at that. It's turning on. So it started up in fan mode because that's what it was on previously. Looks like we can just turn the fan all the way up. Yeah, and it cranks. Okay, let's turn that down. It's kind of loud. So I'm not going to run this too much because, you know, it's pulling air from the same area, but let's just try this in air conditioning mode. There we go. Let's see if it'll go into air conditioning mode. It's thinking. There it goes. Now it's going to be hard to kind of see the screen here, but I'm showing 3.3 amps here and 3.2 amps here, so about 6.5 amps, which is a little bit under 350 watts, and it does seem to be working just fine. Wow guys, being able to run the Wave 3 directly off a 48-volt battery just because we have this plug-and-play adapter, that is awesome. Now with it set to air conditioning mode, we have some really cold air coming out. It's showing 41 degrees, and obviously we have hot air coming out the back here. Typically you're supposed to vent this outside and have it pull fresh air from outside, but because this is how we're just testing it, I have cold and hot air in the same room. So it's good to see that this does work on the Wave 3. Now, if you had the Wave 2, it's a little bit different. It still has the XT150 port, so it should power up. But the benefit to the Wave 2 is that it has the charge controller built into the air conditioner itself. So technically, you could have solar panels plugged into the Wave 2 and be charging this battery, or at least offsetting most of the load that you're running with. So that would be pretty cool on the Wave 2 as well. Now I know some of you are wondering if they happen to make a different adapter for the larger EcoFlow power stations. And I asked them that. Right now this is the only cable that they're making, the XT150, so it is compatible with the Delta 3 Plus as seen in the video, and the Delta 2 and the Delta 2 Max. There probably are a few other power stations that use this same connector, and it should work. And we also found out that it works on EcoFlow accessories. So you guys will have to let me know what you think about this plug and play adapter. Now, for long-term use, I'd probably still recommend putting in a DC breaker. I'll include that down in the video description if you guys want to purchase the DC breaker, but I will say it seemed to work okay using this without a DC breaker. But having the DC breaker there is a nice safety feature, and it also acts as a shutoff switch if you absolutely need it, because some 48-volt batteries do not have a breaker built into them, and so the power is always live, and I don't like to, connect that up. You might get sparks or something like that. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I will definitely do a future video if they come out with a different adapter, but I think this is pretty sweet, guys. A company actually made an adapter like this, and it just makes it so much easier to take a 48-volt battery and make your own expansion batteries. Thanks for watching, guys. I will recommend a couple of the videos that you can check out, and we'll see you guys in the next one.